Now you've got three different ways of playing that sequence. You could either use shape 1 and go shape 2 and go, or shape 3 and go. Now, all of those are cool. They'll all sound nice, and by experimenting a little bit, I'm sure you'll find some really cool ways of using those chords. But there's an easier way to do it. Now, of course, you don't have to. Those of you who are a little bit observant might have noticed that if we've got our G chord down here at the 3rd fret, we also had a C chord around that as well. I'm going to go to a little close-up of this in a sec, just so you can make sure that you get this right, but I'll explain it in a wide first. So we had G, then we could go to C down here, and then back to G, and our D chord was just behind. So instead of having to jump all around the guitar neck, suddenly you can find all of your chords in one kind of one area of the guitar. So that was the first area. Now there's a second area too. If we had the G chord using the second shape, then we have C chord using the first shape just nearby. Back to G chord, and D chord we can just go back a little bit. You can hear they're all kind of next to each other, having G, C, back to G, and then down to D. And of course there's a third one, because we've got three shapes. There's three different kind of areas that you can play it in. First one being up at around the 12th fret for the G chord, staying around the 12th fret for the C chord, going back to G, and then using D, using shape 1. It's a really cool idea. Once you get the idea of how these little things connect with each other, you don't have to shift around the neck so much. You can choose to shift around if you want, because sometimes it sounds better to do G down here and D right up here. But sometimes you don't want to have to shift that far on the guitar and be staring at the guitar neck, especially there's some nice girls around that you want to look at. You don't want to have to be looking at your guitar to shift about. You might want to just shift back to D so you don't have to look. So let's go to a close-up now, and I'll show you the ways of playing the G, C, G, D chord sequence just using one area at a time. Here we are for our first G shape, and this is down the 3rd fret. There's the note G. Now rather than sliding up the neck, we've got a C chord here using the 3rd shape. There's the root note C. Then we'd go back to G, and then if we look nearby, there's the note D, and there's our little D chord. So in shape, using the first area, we could have G, C, G, D. You can see the way that they all just link together. That's obviously a lot easier. A lot easier than shifting up and down the neck. Okay, let's have a look at the second area. Okay, here we are for the second way of playing through our little sequence. The first one, we'll use the one that looks like a D shape. There's the root note there, G. Now we want a C chord. There's a note C on the thinnest string, so we'd use shape 1. Then we go back to our G chord, and then we're looking for a D shape, a D chord rather. There's our note D. So we're using kind of the 3rd shape there. So we'd be using here the 2nd shape, to C using the 1st shape, back to G, and then using our 3rd shape there for the chord D, because there's our root note D. Nice one. Okay, here we go for the third one. So this is our G chord again. Here, this is the 3rd finger on the note G, the root note at the 12th fret, of course, because you can see the double dots there. There's G. Now C chord nearby will be done like this, using, there's the root note there on the 2nd string, 13th fret. Back to G, and then D. There's the note D, there's shape 1, because shape 1 has the root note on the thinner string. So G. Now sometimes I finger using different fingers this time to make my D chord. Instead of that, you could use this. Doesn't really matter. You could even play that first shape like this. Whatever works for you. And then there's your D chord. So G, C, back to G, D. Okay, what we've covered in this lesson is quite a lot of information. It's really important that you get to grips with these kind of shapes first, being able to find and locate the root note, and then be able to put the appropriate shape around the root note. The root note is the key here. If you don't know where the notes are on the guitar neck, and you don't know where the root notes are, using this technique is going to be really difficult. Kind of possible, I suppose, if you just use your ear, but it's really, really hard. So my big advice would be making sure that you get to know the notes on the fingerboard, which is discussed on the website and also discussed in my practical music theory book, which might be worth a snazzle look if you're interested in that, understanding what you're doing. That's the fundamental thing. The next thing is just to make sure that you're aware of the shapes and which note in the shape is the root note. For that you can go and check out the website where I'll have little diagrams of those 3 shapes. Now, so far we've only looked at G, C and D, but it's really important that you're able to find any chord that you like, and that again just relies on the root note. So if you want to play an A chord, an A triad, then you know, well, there's an A on the thinnest string, so if I'd use the shape with the thinnest string having the root note, I'd use the first shape, which is that little one kind of with a little bar with the first finger. So that would be an A chord up here at the 5th fret. That same shape at the 9th fret would be a C sharp chord. They all just move around, so it's getting that, understanding where the root note is and finding the shape is really, really key important. Now, those of you, and now is a little challenge part for you. Now, if you want to learn the minor triads, so the same 3 shapes that I've just shown you, but the minor ones, those of you who have done a little bit of music theory will know that the only difference between a major chord and a minor chord is that the minor chord has a flattened third. Now, in this case, that note would be B, because a G major chord was G, B, D. So a G minor chord is going to have the notes G, B flat and D. So your little task now is to go and figure out from those 3 shapes which one's the root note, which one's the third, i.e. the note B, and which one's the 5th, which is the note D. Once you've done that, if you lower the degree that is the third by 1 semitone, you get your 3 minor type triads, which I'm going to show you from a wide shot so you can't cheat too much. You'd have here G minor, you'd have a G minor here, and you'd have a G minor right up at the 12th fret as well. So they're really similar looking. You know, there's only 1 note moved 1 fret back between the major shapes and the minor types, minor shapes. So it's really important now for you to do a little bit of homework and figure out what the notes are in each of those triad shapes I've shown you. Work out which note is the note B, flatten it, and then you've got all your minor types. I want to leave discussing minor triads and the other ones for a little while to make sure that you actually work it out, because if you learn this stuff yourself, you're going to find it a lot more beneficial than if I just spoon feed it to you. So hopefully that's more than your brain, you know, hopefully your brains are getting a bit sore now from all of this information. The big deal now is to go and use it and to understand it. So figuring out what the notes are and get cracking, try and put it into this chord sequence we're doing, jam with it as much as you can, and then try just picking another song. I don't know, Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd has got, you know, pretty basic kind of chord structure. So why not have a go at seeing if you can work out all your triad shapes for that song? Get your mate to play the rhythm guitar and use the triads over the top, or just play the record, but you know, put the CD on and then try and play along with it using your newfound triad skills. It really sounds great as a second guitar part, really cool for jamming, and a really, really useful kind of mind-expanding lesson if you go through and work out where the notes are and you understand the concept. If you don't subscribe, please hit that. Please go and check out the website. Lots of information there on this and a whole lot more, as you probably know already. Worth a look if you haven't gone and checked it out already. See you again for some more lessons sometime in the near future. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah.